They say the strongest bond in the world is between a mother and her daughter. For 20 years, I believed that. My mother, Catherine, wasn't just my parent. She was my world. We lived in a small, quiet house on the edge of town, a place that felt like a fortress against a world that had supposedly rejected us. I remember the rainy afternoons, sitting by the window, watching other kids play with their fathers. I would feel a sharp sting in my chest, a void that could never be filled. My father was gone. That was the truth I grew up with, a truth that was carved into my heart by the woman I trusted most. Every year, on the 12th of October, my mother would dress in black. We would drive to a public cemetery on the outskirts of the city. She would lead me to a random, weathered gravestone and place a single white rose on it. He didn't want the burden of a family, Elena. She would whisper, her voice trembling with a practiced sadness. He left us before you could even say your first word. But don't worry, my sweet girl. We have each other. We are enough. I would cry for a man I never knew, hating him for leaving a woman as perfect as my mother. I didn't realize then that the name on that grave didn't even belong to my family. It was just a prop in her masterfully directed play. Catherine was a martyr in the eyes of everyone who knew us. She worked 2 jobs, nursing during the day and bookkeeping at night, just to keep me in a good school. But there was a price for her sacrifice. That price was my freedom. Whenever I wanted to go to a sleepover or a school trip, she would suddenly have a migraine or a heart palpitation. I do everything for you, Elena. She would sob. How can you leave me alone after everything I've been through? I felt like a criminal for wanting a life of my own. I was her prisoner, locked inside a cage made of guilt and forced gratitude. I didn't know that every penny she spent on me was actually blood money, sent by the very man she told me was dead. Everything changed on a Tuesday afternoon. My mother was rushed to the hospital for a minor surgery. While she was recovering, she asked me to go home and find an insurance document. As I searched through her desk, I saw her old silver laptop, the one she always kept locked away like a holy relic. For the first time in my life, she had forgotten it on the table, still plugged in. I don't know what possessed me. Maybe it was the years of unanswered questions, or maybe it was just fate. I opened the lid. The screen flickered to life, and I saw a login page for a private email account. I tried her birthday, then mine. When the inbox loaded, my heart stopped. There were thousands of unread emails, all from the same sender, David. I started reading. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely track the mouse. Elena is 5 today, one email said. I sent the doll she wanted. Did she like it? Please, Catherine, just one photo. I felt a lump in my throat. I remembered that doll. My mother told me she had saved for months to buy it for me. Another email from 3 years ago. I know she's graduating high school. I've deposited the tuition for her dream university into the secret account. Please tell her it's a merit scholarship. She doesn't need to know it's from me if you're still not ready. My whole life was a curated lie. My scholarship wasn't from a university. My dead father was paying for my existence while I was being taught to hate his memory. The most painful part wasn't David's emails. It was my mother's replies. Cold, calculated, cruel. If you ever try to contact her, I will move again, she wrote in one. She thinks you're a monster, David. Let's keep it that way. I looked at the screen, then at the framed photo of my mother on the wall. The woman who kissed me goodnight, who held me when I cried. She was a stranger. She hadn't been protecting me from a ghost. She had been protecting a secret that kept me tied to her forever. I wasn't her daughter. I was her hostage. In that moment, the girl who worshipped Catherine died. And a new Elena, fueled by a quiet, burning rage, was born. I didn't scream. I didn't confront her at the hospital. If I did, she would find another way to manipulate me. Another fake illness to keep me by her side. I acted like the same obedient daughter for 2 more days. But inside, I was packing. I found an address in one of the tax documents David had emailed. A town called Oak Creek, 6 hours away by bus. I took the scholarship money, the money my father had sent for my future, and bought a one-way ticket. As I looked at my mother sleeping in her hospital bed, looking so frail and innocent, I felt a wave of nausea. Her innocence was the most dangerous thing about her. The bus ride felt like an eternity. Every mile away from my mother felt like a chain snapping. I kept checking the printed emails in my bag, making sure I hadn't imagined it all. Oak Creek was a beautiful, sun-drenched town, the polar opposite of the gray, suffocating suburb I grew up in. I found the house. It was a modest place with a porch and a garden full of blue hydrangeas. My heart was pounding so hard I thought it would burst through my ribs. I stood at the gate for 20 minutes, frozen. What if he didn't want me now? What if my mother was right about one thing, that I was just a reminder of a past he wanted to forget? Then the front door opened. A man stepped out, holding a watering can. He had the same jawline as me, the same slight squint in his left eye when the sun hit it. He looked older than the photos I'd imagined, but his eyes, they were the eyes from my dreams. He stopped when he saw me standing there with my suitcase. The watering can slipped from his hand, soaking his shoes, but he didn't care. He didn't ask who I was. He didn't ask what I wanted. He just whispered one word, with a voice full of 20 years of heartbreak. Elena? In that single word, I heard all the birthdays he missed, all the letters he sent, and all the love my mother had tried to kill. I stayed with David for a week. We didn't try to make up for 20 years in a few days. We just talked. He showed me the room he had kept ready for me, decorated in colors he hoped I still liked. But I knew I had to go back one last time. Not to stay, but to close the door. When I walked into our house, my mother was waiting in the kitchen, her face a mask of worry. "Where have you been, Elena? I was so scared," she cried, reaching out to hug me. I stepped back. I laid the printed emails on the table between us. The room went silent. The air felt heavy with the weight of 2 decades of lies. Her face changed. The helpless martyr disappeared, replaced by a cold, sharp desperation. "I did it for you," she hissed. "He wasn't good enough for us. I wanted you all to myself." I looked at her, and for the first time I didn't feel guilt. I felt pity. "You didn't do it for me, Catherine," I said quietly. "You did it for your own fear. You stole my father, you stole my history, and you stole my right to choose." I didn't yell. I didn't need to. The truth was louder than any scream. I walked out of that house, leaving her alone with the silence she had created. I wasn't running away this time. I was walking toward my own life. Today, I live in a world where the truth is the foundation. My relationship with David is new, and sometimes it's awkward, but it's real. I learned that family isn't about who kept you in a cage, but who fought to give you wings. My mother still calls, but I don't answer. Some doors are better left locked. To anyone listening to this, don't let someone else's fear write your story. The truth might break your heart, but it's the only thing that will ever truly set you free.